Welcome to Based on a Book podcast, where we may not be bright-eyed, feisty old ladies yet, but we promise we're just as entertaining. I'm today's host, Crystal, and I'm fairly certain former government spies don't go around telling people that they're former government spies.
I'm Keri, better known as the podcast's Clueless Detective.
And I'm Lindsey, and I can't wait to get old and obsess over cold cases.
Yes, please. I can't wait to get old and do that with you. This week, we are discussing Thursday Murder Club. It was published in 2020 and is the debut novel of author Richard Osman. This is the first in a series. There are currently 5 books, and a 6th is in the works. The story takes place in and around a high-end retirement village, Cooper's Chase, where we follow the members of the Thursday Murder Club, a group of pensioners dedicated to re-examining and solving old cold cases. Just as the group recruits a new member, a present-day murder involving the developer of Cooper's Chase gains their attention, and shenanigans ensue. I was really excited to use the word shenanigans in an episode. But before we get into the Netflix movie, I really want to know what you both thought of the book. So let's get into ratings. And I know everyone wants to know what our resident clueless detective thought. Keri, what did you think? Did you figure this one out? It's okay, girl. It's okay. There was a lot going on here.
There was a lot going on in this book. A lot of red herrings, a lot of different directions that it was going in. Got close in some areas with my suspicions. Not exact, but like when we get into the more spoilery sections, I think I can get into more details about it. But I think I got pretty close to the answer by the end. But I ended up giving this book 3.5 cleared suspects, or not. I'm like in like a 3.5 star rut right now. Like it's like
Yeah.
3 or 3.5 stars. Like that's a lot of my books right now. What I love the characters, of course. There are like a few people in the story that are like bad people, but when people do bad things in the story, you still like feel something for them.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's why I like this book so much. I love the age of the characters, I love the humor. Things that like I not necessarily like hated or anything, I just like didn't love so much. There was just like a lot going on. And mystery is just not my favorite genre in general. It's not something I gravitate towards a lot. So I think it takes a lot for me to like really love it. Like 4 and 5 stars are like absolute favorites for me. So I think it was really good and I recommend it, but just not a favorite.
Okay, that's fair. Lindsey, you and I tend to be a little bit more dialed in on mysteries. I know you've recently read a lot more with the Janet Ivanovich, Stephanie Plum series. So you're getting a little bit more exposure to mysteries in general. What were your thoughts on this book? And did you get close to pegging our suspects?
I tried to go into this one with like little to no expectations. I had a feeling, and I'm not going to give away too much, but I had a feeling that the killer was going to be someone completely like unrelated, someone random that they were going to bring in. It wasn't going to be someone that they were discussing throughout the story. Also there are like so many murders. So
Yeah.
So many.
Yeah.
I was like, are they all related? Are they all going to be the same person? So kind of like what Keri said, I got kind of close, but I don't think I was really exact on a single one of them. But I had suspicions. But this one also started out kind of slow for me, and it was hard for me to get into it at first. And it's switching POVs so often, it's hard to keep up. I don't know who, like, we're in Joyce's point of view, then we're in Elizabeth's point of view, and it kept going back and forth, and that was kind of frustrating. But once it started picking up, it started getting funny, and then toward the end, it started getting really sad. So yeah, I gave this one 4 cold cases.
That's fair. I loved this book. You guys know I've read a ton of murder mysteries prior to this. Mystery is one of my all-time favorite, especially a more cozy mystery. I'm not necessarily looking for like graphic violence or even like over the top romantic interest. Just kind of like there should be a murder or a crime of some kind and we're going to solve it. That's my jam, right? That's my sweet spot. Personally, I give this book 5 red herrings because I'm pretty sure there were 5 red herrings.
Mm-hmm.
We had,
or more.
or more. The plot kept me guessing the whole way through. The characters had me all kind of wishing I could hang out with them because they like all were someone I could identify with at some point. The shifting POVs, I feel like for me, added to the layers of secrets and suspense building of like getting a little bit closer, but maybe not, and learning to understand all the characters. As someone who reads a lot of mystery series, I could tell that like when I read this the first time, because this is a reread for me, I did not know that it was a series.
Mm-hmm.
And I knew as I was reading it, oh, we're building to something bigger. And I think that was because of the shifting POVs. My feelings were feeling. I was feeling the feelings, all of them. That was it.
Mm-hmm.
And the end kind of left me questioning how I personally define justice. I really love a book that leaves me questioning truths that I thought I knew, you know? And so I really like that. I am still shocked, even on this reread, absolutely shocked that this is a debut novel because to me, this is murder mystery mastery. This is just the epitome of, you know, like there's a handful like Agatha Christie, like these big mystery writer. This is up there. You know, it reminds me a lot of Sherlock Holmes. It's just so good. It's so good. So for the mystery reader of the group, I would say that this is up there.
Yeah.
This is way up there.
And it's like it has new books coming out like recently. Like I think the most recent one was like last year.
Yeah.
And it's like the 5th book, right?
Yes. Richard Osman is also writing a second mystery series. I have not read them, but he is saying that each one of his series that he's working on right now is going to continue. So Thursday Murder Club, there's a 6th one coming out. And from what I understand, he is already planning a 7th and an 8th. Like he's plans on continuing these. And honestly, I'm thrilled to keep reading them. I haven't yet, honestly, because I was waiting to do this with you guys. So I will probably be reading that. Going forward.
Yeah.
Now,
I'm happy that was a 5-star for you. That's awesome.
I honestly, I needed a 5-star. I needed one.
Yeah.
It's been a minute. I needed one.
Yeah.
The Netflix adaptation of this movie is directed by Chris Columbus. It released in August of 2025 with an all-star cast. Okay.
Literally insane.
Seriously, Dame Helen Mirren, Pierce Brosnan, Sir Ben Kingsley, Celia Imrie, Sir Jonathan Pryce, and David Tennant. And that's just a few. That's just a few. David Tennant, I know.
I saw David Tennant and I literally screamed. The scream I scrumped when I saw David Tennant.
And he plays such a slimeball character. I love it.
Yeah.
It was so well done. It's so just lovely. But despite all the big names, the movie has overall mixed reviews, on the like high end of mixed, but still mixed. So let's get into what worked, what didn't, and whether or not we think this movie holds up to the book. This is your spoiler warning. If you have not read the book or watched the movie, we're about to get into specifics. So this is where you should pause and come back. We promise we will still be here when you're ready. So the book opens with a very short epigraph from the POV of the killer or a killer. It says, "Killing someone is easy. Hiding the body, now that's usually the hard part. That's how you get caught." This sets the tone for the entire book before the first chapter opens. And the first chapter is from Joyce's first-person POV. She is the only person we get first-person POVs from. And it's like journal entries. And so this first chapter is Joyce's first journal entry as she becomes involved with the members of the Thursday Murder Club. Yep. The movie opens in black and white with scenes of a murder and Elizabeth briefing Ron and Ibrahim on the details of the cold case that they're about to re-examine. It then shifts to Joyce giving her daughter a tour of the sunny and joyful Cooper's Chase, ultimately showing her the puzzle room and stumbling into the regular meeting of the Thursday Murder Club and their murder board. How do you guys feel about the opening of the book and the movie, and do you feel like they each set the stage well?
Well, first of all, the fact that Joyce had the POV where she's writing in like diary entries, immediately suspect. You're a suspect.
I knew it.
Immediately, you are suspicious and you're on my suspect list. I've been reading way too many unreliable narrators lately. That was a first suspect for me.
I'll admit, Joyce made my suspect list at some point. It wasn't at the very beginning, but there was one point I was like, wait a minute, Joyce, where were you in 1970?
Yeah. You have like a flashlight on her.
Yeah, literally.
Where were you this night on 1970?
Sitting at the interrogation table, slams her hands on the table.
Yeah.
I'd just be over here eating cookies.
All she
in the
does,
room, there's baked goods. So
yeah, all she does is write her first entry in the diary. I'm like, where were you? I don't trust these narrators, man. Not anymore. I've been reading too many of them.
This is a cozy mystery, okay? We don't have quite the level of like Gone Girl and Frankenstein and Wuthering Heights. Like, we don't have to worry about that. Yeah, no. Come back.
Yeah.
We're a little bit more calm over here, okay?
I was like, suspect.
Oh, Lord.
Honestly, immediately, I just like the vibes of it. You know, coming in, that they meet on Thursdays, like they talk about cold cases. I like how individual each character is with their personalities and how they come together and balance each other out. And then they have like their missing link in Joyce that they need because she was a nurse. So she is able to like give them extra details on things related to the cold cases that they're looking at. Also, like a big difference in my perspective when reading was the setting of Cooper's Chase.
Yeah.
Between the book and the movie. In the book, I'm thinking like, you know, retirement home, like very like chill, relax, like not super over the top. When we get into this retirement home, we're at Hogwarts. Like, this is crazy.
And I think that's a huge difference between American retirement home and retirement village versus a more like European style. I think, I'm not sure. I've never been to Europe. But
they got llamas everywhere.
That was hilarious. The llamas is hilarious. But that very much had me like, because I kind of thought the same thing, especially as they're going into each different like unit. They went into Ron's apartment and they went into Joyce's apartment. Like, as we see each one, I'm like, what is happening here with these fancy gabled ceilings and like the windows are all different shapes, and you know, like, it was very Hogwartsy.
And the location was like featured on like a lot of different like other films, I think.
Yes. They used the where did it go? Ingle something.
Yeah,
Inglefield House.
Yeah.
In Berkshire, which has been used on a lot of different films. And so I feel like, especially like the bright sunny, you know, as they're like touring the grounds and she's showing Joanna the like archery club, and then they have the like the art club where they're like drawing the male model, and you know, it's all outside in this beautiful sunny weather, and I'm over here like, I thought it rained a lot in England. I don't know.
And then you see me going by on the scooter.
Meep, meep.
Across the field. Oh my gosh. Honestly, it looks fun. I mean, it looks great. It's just not what I pictured. Like, I didn't picture it so over the top and so fancy.
No, when I retire, that's where I want to go.
Yeah, I mean,
Right
honestly,
there.
it looks really fun.
It looks really expensive.
Oh, yeah,
Very,
absolutely.
very expensive.
Absolutely.
So, I'm sorry.
I was going to
Lindsay,
say
go
the actress who played Joanna is Ingrid Oliver. Isn't she married to Richard Osman? Haven't they been married since like 2022?
I don't know. Why would you ask me that?
I'm pretty sure they're married.
Oh my
Hold
gosh,
on,
that's
hold
so
on.
funny.
I'm gonna find out. Wait, where's my button? There
That's
we go.
crazy. I didn't know that.
What I do know about Richard Osman actually is like known as a producer and presenter of like different quiz shows.
Yes.
Like he did not necessarily, he was not an author before this. Like I'm sure he wrote like bits and pieces of the quiz show or whatever. But like this is seriously his first novel. Like what the heck? And he shows up on Taskmaster, which is one of my favorite
I love
shows.
Yeah,
that one always makes me laugh. It says spouse Richard Osman. What do you know? Lindsay, you always come in with the best info.
I know.
I'm over here like, damn, this was my episode. I should have known that. Nope. Nope.
Also, something that's like really cool is that Chris Columbus, the director, he basically like wanted to have like this all-star cast and everything, and every person that he asked to be on in this movie said yes immediately. Like they were so down for it. Like I think Helen, the lady that plays Elizabeth, she like had read the book already going into it and had already loved the series.
Also, welcome back to the podcast, Chris Columbus.
Yeah.
Right?
Welcome back to the podcast.
And Pierce Brosnan.
Brosnan.
Yeah.
And I think we had David Tennant in another one too. I just don't remember which one.
Yeah, I don't remember.
I should remember that, and I don't.
Well, I don't know. We talk about Doctor Who now and then, so
yeah.
You know, we just throw it in there when we feel like it.
Last time we saw Pierce Brosnan, he was like
half horse.
That's true. That's true. I liked seeing him with just two legs this time.
Yeah.
Way better. Way better. What was I saying, you guys? You threw me off track.
Sorry.
That's all
right.
We
were talking about the beginning. We were talking about Cooper's Chase.
We just got to Cooper's Chase.
And I'm not going to go through like every single bit of the story because honestly, there's too much. There's way too much.
Mm-hmm.
But I want to talk about specifically the characters because it's like Keri said, like each one has very specific, like fills a specific role and need within the club and brings a different, perspective to the table. Like Ron is chosen specifically because he first of all, he kind of forced his way in, and also he never believes anything anyone says. And that kind of healthy doubt has helped them to re-examine some evidence. Ibrahim is very like analytical and organized and practical. Joyce, of course, has the medical expertise. And Elizabeth, we learn, it's hinted at in the book, that she worked for a government agency at some point. She comes out and says she worked for MI6 in the movie, which I hated that. I wish she had not said that. But I digress. So I want to talk about, were there any characters in the book that you particularly loved or particularly hated? Now, mind you, I got confused about all the extra side characters and stuff. There are over 70 characters in this book. I found a list online to help me keep track of who was who. But Lindsay, I want to start with you. Was there any character, whether the main character or a side character, that you really loved or hated?
I feel like Little had something to say. She wanted to pipe up.
She also enjoyed this novel.
Yeah. She must have. I feel like I liked each individual character for different reasons. I'll admit, like I said, when I first started it, it was a little slow for me. And it was because I felt like it started with a lot of complaining. And I was like, oh my God, I don't want to hear people complain.
Fair.
But, it got better. I enjoyed each character. They grew on me, and I love them, and they're like my grandparents, and I want to go visit them. Talk cold cases. Yeah.
There you go. Keri, anybody that you felt connected with in some way?
I really like Elizabeth, obviously. I mean, I just like that she's so pushy and like And I like that she, like, doesn't care and she's gonna get it done whether you like it or not.
Mhm.
Like, one of my favorite scenes in the book is them, and also I love Donna,
Mhm.
the she's not a detective,
She's a
but
police constable, PC
yeah,
DeFreitas.
yeah, yeah. I really love her character, and I like the dynamic between her and Elizabeth.
Mhm.
When Elizabeth gets her on the case to be able to start trying to solve Tony's murder,
Mhm.
and the way that they go about that, where Elizabeth, like, visits Donna, and is just like, "We're gonna get you on the case. Don't worry about it. We'll deal with it." Like, this lady's in a retirement home, and she's like, "Just don't worry about it. We'll get you on the case." And they have this whole plan.
They have a
It.
shenanigan.
Yeah, they have this whole shenanigan planned to get this together, to get her on the case, and it takes, like, 20 minutes to do that, and, like, I just love that Elizabeth is like, she's like, "Don't worry about it. I got this."
She's like
Yeah.
a puppet master. She
Yeah.
Yeah.
orchestrates all of this,
Yeah.
and I love it.
I also love, is how you pronounce it? Abraham?
Abraham.
Abraham? I love his character a lot. I feel like it's very much myself sometimes, where I love his little notebook that he brings out, and he's just, like, jotting
Mhm.
down notes and, like, very precise about how things are done and how they should be done, very analytical. I also a really random character coming out of nowhere. I really liked the storyline between Joyce and Bernard.
Mhm.
Oh yeah, that
Yeah.
one was
And
cute.
it's not in the movie. It's actually completely removed from the movie,
Yeah.
but it was such a touching story where it, like, really moved me very deeply and made me cry. The story made me cry so much. I cried about everything in this book.
Oh, yeah.
Because that's what I do. I just cry all the time, apparently, when I read these books, regardless of what it's about. But I was crying so much in the story because there's, like, so much, like, about life and death
Mhm.
in this book. And when we're given these, like, red herrings in different directions, we're, like, also given life lessons. Like, you're going in this direction of this red herring where you're thinking you're about to solve who murdered this person, and then you're actually, bam, life lesson, bam, death, good luck, like, because we're also, like, dealing with the retirement home and everyone's, like,
And the
much
realities of
older.
yeah,
Yeah.
the realities of people facing their mortality
Yes,
and watching their
exactly.
friends dying around them.
Yeah, and it's, like, making you reflect of what that's like and making you reflect, like, at the end of your life and, like, watching people around you and growing old with people around you.
Yep.
It just was, like, actually low key very sad. Like,
Yeah.
Super
affected me.
sad.
Yep.
It affected me.
But in a lot of ways, I think hopeful that there
Yes,
is
exactly.
joy and fun and
Yeah.
purpose in your life, even when
Mhm.
you get to this point where you're getting close to the end.
Yeah. That's exactly how it felt, like, it's like I was crying, not so much of, like, being sad, like, as in, like, I'm, like, really upset about it, but it's, like, a
It's
sad,
beautiful.
hopeful. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. I think one of my favorite characters in the book, he's a very small character, he was not in the movie at all, was Gordon Playfair. He was the owner of the farm that was adjoining Cooper's Chase that Ian Bentham was trying to buy,
Mhm.
and he was kind of a spiteful old man. He was refusing to sell to Ian Bentham specifically because he didn't like Ian Bentham. He didn't need the land, he didn't want it anymore, he was old and ready to retire, but he was not gonna sell just because he didn't like that guy. And, I identify with that. That level of spite at that age, I want that. I hope
Yeah.
I'm still feeling that.
Yeah.
I really liked that. There were a lot of characters in the book that might have gotten a mention in the movie. Like, I think Gordon's character got a mention in the movie. but particularly to me, Father Mackey's storyline was completely left out.
Yes.
I hate they left that out. That's such a good storyline.
Mhm.
It was such a great storyline. It was definitely a red herring, but it was a good one.
Also, it was Jeffrey from Fresh Prince of Bel-Air.
Right?
Mhm.
How cool. I'm telling you, when I say this cast is full of people that you're going to be like, oh, that guy. It's just so good. It's so good.
Yeah.
I also feel like we didn't get, as far as the characters go, I feel like the movie did a little bit dirty the Donna and Chris friendship that was building.
Oh my
right?
gosh, yes.
Because
I
it was
have
such a
that written
great
down.
friendship. So there's Donna DeFreitas is the police constable that Elizabeth kind of recruits into like a de facto member. She's a consultant for the Thursday Murder Club at this point,
Mhm.
an unpaid consultant.
Yeah.
And then there's Detective Chief Inspector Chris, whose last name I can't remember.
Hudson.
There you go. Thank you.
Mhm.
He's on my list now. But Chris and Donna begin to build this friendship. Like, we don't get a lot of Donna's backstory either, which I don't necessarily think was super important to the storyline by any means, but it was nice in building her character. And again, this was one of the signs to me that we were building a series, was the, like, we got backstory on a lot of characters I did not expect to get backstory on.
Yep.
And then towards the end of the book, Gordon Playfair does move into Cooper's Chase. And so I'm like, is he going to become a member of the Thursday Murder Club? Because I need that spiteful energy in the next book. And so I'll let y'all know when I get there. But
yeah.
And so I do feel like that friendship building between Chris and Donna, because at first I was like, are they going to date? That would, like, I don't not want to see a romance, but also I'm not reading this for a romance.
Mhm.
And so for them to see it build into this really comfortable, platonic, kind friendship, I thought was really lovely too, because again, we're seeing a lot of that happening with the retirees at Cooper's Chase, but to see that with a young couple, like a young, group of people as they're starting to like settle into their like middle age lives, I really enjoyed. Was there any other character in the movie that you felt like got kind of a raw deal compared to their storyline in the book, or anybody you wish you had seen more of?
I think Ron's son,
Yeah.
Jason, they switched up. Well, first of all, played by Tom Ellis.
Mm-hmm.
He's also in Lucifer.
Yep.
That was a surprise to me. I did not know he was going to be in this movie. But they added a weird spin to his character in the
Right?
movie where they had him like they were suspicious of him
Mm-hmm.
of murdering Tony in the book, but not to the point of arresting him like they do in the movie. And then they have this whole storyline where Jason was sleeping with, I believe it was Ian's
Ian's wife.
wife. That was a really weird thing that they did. I didn't like that. That was
Yeah.
bizarre.
Lindsay, anybody? Oh, I'm sorry.
I agreed about the Chris thing. I didn't like what they did with his character because I think that they also made him like more aggressive towards the Thursday Murder Club because he was not that way in the book. Like he actually wasn't. He was kind of like going along with it and working with them more.
Yeah.
Instead of combating against them.
Lindsay, was there anybody that you wish got a little more screen time in the movie, or you feel like they didn't do the character quite right?
I found it interesting that the way they portrayed the bad guys, like the bad guys were just bad in the show. Whereas, they did some bad things in the book, but like especially Elizabeth, she was able to look past what they had done. And in the Netflix series, they were just bad people. Didn't like them, didn't root for them at all, no sympathy.
And that's, I want to talk about some of the scenes in the book in particular, or in the movie in particular. But one is Bobby Tanner, who we find out is of hiding as a florist. I'm going by Derek Ward. in the book, it is very much like he realized he needed to get out of organized crime, and so he's gone clean, and now he's a florist, but he's still hiding. You know, he's under an assumed name because he did some bad stuff in his life, but he doesn't want to do that anymore, right? In the movie, we get him still involved in organized crime.
Mm-hmm.
B, Elizabeth like walks in on him while he's like got blood dripping down his hands from the thorns on the roses. It was just, to me, it felt so weird.
Yeah.
Compared to the book, because in the book, even though a lot of these people do bad things, we are led to believe they all have reasons that, although still not okay, are somewhat understandable, somewhat we can a little bit empathize with them,
and redemption is possible.
Right.
Yeah. I have a hot take about that. I think that sometimes when we see these adaptations, it's almost like they struggle to adapt the complexities of a character to screen. Like,
Yes.
the complexities of the fact that we could have redemption in someone that had a bad past like that. Like, the whole point of the story of all these bad people possibly having redemption and could have good in them is like, it can't fathom putting that on screen. Like, it's like, that's not entertaining. Like,
Right.
they have to make it like this. You know what I mean? Like, they have to make it this. There has to be this crazy bad people, and that's the only way you would watch a murder mystery kind of thing. Like,
and then
it's almost too complex to comprehend on screen.
Right.
And then the way they did Tony, where Tony was a really bad guy in the book, but in the show they try to make him like, oh yeah, he's done bad things, but he has a family member who lives at Cooper's Chase. He's the only one that's trying to keep it together and not demolished.
Right. They did weird things with the bad guys. Ultimately, in the book, we have 3 murders and 3 murderers, but there are so many red herrings.
Yeah.
And somehow, still, even with all these red herrings, they all kind of tie together into what leads to the 3 murders, or what causes these murderers to commit these murders. Everyone has a secret, and I think that's part of kind of one of the themes of the book, is that as we get to a certain age in our lives where we start to reflect on the things that we've done and whether or not, you know, we could have done them differently or should have done them differently, or coming clean. And we get that storyline a lot, but of course, at first we think, oh, they're coming clean about a murder. Nope, turns out they were hiding a completely different secret. So I want to know, how many different people did you think were the murderer that turned out not to be a murderer? And I want to start with Keri.
Oh no.
Everyone.
Everyone's a suspect. Okay, so to be totally honest, the entire story, I was like, it is someone within this club. The entire time.
Yeah.
And that never changed. And regardless of the information given to me. Okay. I was like, it is someone in this club. It is someone in this club. And that's all.
They have murder in the name of the club, so.
Yeah, I was like, it is 100. I've read too many of these. Someone in this club is suspicious. And I 100% suspected, what's his name? Bogdan?
Bogdan.
Yeah. I like that name a lot. I love that name.
Me too.
I 100% suspected him. Bogdan, and I was like, and these people in this club, suspicious.
Okay. Lindsey, how many people did you assume were the murderer or think were the murderer, and then definitely were not?
There was one point in time where I suspected everyone.
Yeah.
And it may have been just for a split second, but I may have suspected every single person. It really hit me hard when I thought it was Joyce, because they were looking at a photo from the 70s, and the girl, Gordon's daughter, was like, oh, I recognize that face. And for some reason, I was like, oh, it's Joyce. I don't know why.
That's fair. I just knew the whole time that it was Bernard, whatever. I knew.
Actually, I know now. I remember why I thought it was Joyce. She was writing an article for like the paper or something, and she put an older photo of herself in it, and that's why I thought it was her.
Yeah. Then I thought for sure it was Father Mackey for a little bit. I was like, dude's suspicious. He really doesn't want him digging in there.
He didn't exist before the 90s.
Yeah.
He wasn't a real father. He wasn't a real priest.
Yeah. Like, I was like, oh, we got him. Nope.
It was too soon. It was way too soon.
Yeah. I was like, we're not even halfway through the book.
Yeah.
And it was too,
I don't know.
And it was too obvious.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was the 3 murders is really like the first one. Like we knew the first one was in the 70s because that's when we walk in on Thursday Murder Club talking about that first murder in the 70s. But then we think it goes away.
Yeah, I was going to say, I didn't think that was part of what we were trying to solve.
Right. It wasn't until Bogdan found the body that I was like, oh, that one. Wait, I bet I know.
Yeah.
I know this. We saw the pictures.
Yeah.
Like, I was ready. Were there any scenes in the movie that got added that you did not enjoy? I will say flat out the whole like Elizabeth driving with Donna and talking about like Donna being like, this is a fancy car. And she's like, it was a retirement gift. And she's like, zooming through. I'm like, I don't like this.
She was driving an Aston Martin, which is what Pierce Brosnan would drive as James Bond.
Yeah. I did notice that. I was like, oh, okay. But I also just felt like a random, like, it's not a car chase because these are pensioners. These are retirees. So we don't do that anymore. But her just whipping around, I feel like that was not an Elizabeth thing to do. It was not classy. Elizabeth was classy. She might have been all about the shenanigans and orchestrating everything and pulling all the strings. But I feel like she wouldn't have been that showy. You know what I mean? I felt like that was weird. Was there anything added that you didn't, that felt weird to you, Keri?
I mean, I don't remember. Is that Tony's mom that was in it? That was
Tony's aunt.
Tony's aunt. Was she in the book?
No.
Okay, I didn't think so. I thought that was added. I didn't like that added in the movie. I was like, what's the point of this?
Yeah.
It was weird.
And she was, if you notice, like, you would be watching a scene and she would just be lurking in the back.
Yeah.
And I'd be like, can you stop?
She was nosy. She wanted to be in the club, but they didn't invite her.
Yeah, exactly.
I know that feeling, okay? But I'm old enough now that I would, hopefully at that age too, I'll just be like, I would like in this club, please.
Yeah. Also, okay, let me tell you something else that I really didn't like. So,
and she's back.
Yeah, I'm back. So Elizabeth, she's like, here's an intruder in her house because Bobby Tanner, he's like, has somebody like leaving flowers in her house. And the way that she approaches the intruder and like kind of doesn't care that somebody just broke into her house and like left the door open and ran away, that upset me. Like that she did not even care that just happened. No reaction whatsoever. Like that would freak me out. Or even I know that she like has a past of like she's kind of like a boss bitch, but she would still have some type of reaction.
Yeah. Lindsey, anything that just kind of to you?
There was a lot of little things. The whole thing with Ian and his wife, and I don't like how they changed the characters. I don't like how they changed any of the characters. The scene with Bobby, like we talked about earlier, there were a bunch of little things I didn't like.
That's fair. Any scenes from the book or the movie that you particularly loved? I want to start because if I don't get to talk about this, I'll burst. But when they first invite Chris and Donna to come meet with them because they're going to like share the financial records and they're trying to make Chris super uncomfortable. I love this in the book and in the movie because they like turn the heat up to make it really hot and they put him on the couch like smushed between Ron and Ibrahim and then offer him a cup of tea and a cake and he can't set it down and he can't eat. Like it was just so hilarious. I just laughed through that whole scene in the book and in the movie.
They did do that really well.
Yeah. And then Donna's like, or they're like, I'll give you the financial records if you tell me the time of death. And like, Chris won't say anything. And then Donna says it. And then she's like, here you go.
Yep.
There's the financial records.
It was so good. It was such a good scene.
Yeah. I love the fact that like this group of people just kind of run the show the entire time.
Mm-hmm.
And they're like, we can run the show because like we can kind of do everything that we want because no one's going to suspect us. No one's going to question what we do. And that's like, it cracks me up. I love that so much.
Mm-hmm.
It's too good.
Any particular scene that you really loved, Lindsey?
I did really like toward the end when Steven is playing chess with Bogdan and they all burst into the apartment because they think Steven's been poisoned. I did like that scene. That was really good.
Yeah.
I loved that they kept that relationship between Bogdan and Steven in the movie because I thought it was so touching in the book, that like mutual respect for each other. I thought was really lovely. I think there were quite a few scenes like that in the book though that were either super touching or just absolutely hilarious that I feel like kept me reading. It really kind of kept me going, these moments of like laughing 1 minute and crying the next, just through the whole thing. Was there anything in the book, any reveal in the book that made you kind of gasp or just be like, oh, no way? It was the Father Mackey one for me.
Yeah, that was a big one.
Yeah, that one was pretty. I think the ending with Penny, that one was kind of surprising for me.
Yeah.
That kind of threw me for a loop. I was like, wait, I forgot about Penny.
Right? So that's that. I want to talk about the end a little bit more in depth because we end up with the same murderers in the movie and the book, right? But we get to each of them in slightly different ways, right? Particularly Bogdan, right? Like we know that he is the one who ultimately is the one who killed Tony Curran. But the reason he does it is different in the movie versus the book. You know, in the book, this is a cold served revenge is what this is. He has been waiting for the right moment for a very long time. In the movie, it's because Tony Curran is running some like immigrant labor passport crime thing, organized crime situation, and is basically holding Bogdan's passport hostage, and Bogdan can't leave to go visit his mother, and he wants to get his passport back and confronts Tony to get his passport back, and it ends up accidentally killing Tony Curran. So I feel like to me, I feel like that one in particular I didn't find quite as satisfying. Because again, it goes back to what you said, Lindsey, about them like changing the villains. They changed the bad guys, their motivations, their intentions. You know, Bogdan was ultimately a bad guy in the book. This was not an accident in the book. This was planned out. This is premeditated murder. You know, do either of you feel like any of the endings were satisfying in the movie versus the book, or were they all kind of okay for you?
Well, something I saw was that people were upset about how the movie ended with Bogdan because in the book series, Bogdan is a very important character throughout the series. So it's concerning that he gets arrested in the movie series, because that kind of indicates if they continue in the movie series, they're going to be messing with the story a lot.
Right.
So from my understanding, Bogdan is going to be essential to the Thursday Murder Club, which I think is interesting.
And see, that's kind of the vibe I got from the end of the book, was that we're going to see more of this guy. And I feel like in the movie, how could we see more of him? He's going to jail now.
Exactly.
You know?
Yeah.
What about the ending with Penny?
That was wild.
I mean, that was, so we find out that Penny is the murderer of the 1970s murder from the beginning of the book. That the boyfriend was basically going to get away with murder, and she just couldn't stand that. And so she pulled a Batman, basically a vigilante style justice. And so that leaves me questioning again. So it leaves her husband in a position to, he didn't know at all through all of this until she started having like dementia type episodes. And she kind of told him what had happened. So her husband, John, then is stuck with this knowledge that she killed a man and has buried him up at the cemetery. And now they're about to dig up the cemetery. And that's when John ends up killing Ian Ventham to make sure that that body doesn't get dug up, because he doesn't want to see his wife's name ruined. In the book, it is so touching how upset John is that he has been put in a position to do this, right?
Yeah.
He didn't want to do this. He realizes what he's done. But he loves his wife so much, the idea of her legacy being destroyed by this one act, like he feels like the only thing he could do for her anymore was to protect that for her, to protect her name, you know? And it's really touching. I feel like the movie kind of touches on that, but we never got to know Penny and John in the movie the way we did in the book. We never got to know how important they were to Elizabeth, to each other in the movie the way we did in the book. And so that ending fell flat for me in the movie.
Yeah.
How did you guys have any thoughts on that?
I agree. I mean, I totally agree. I think I cried at the end of the book because, you know, obviously the way that went down was more emotional. And, you know, what Elizabeth says, she's like, it's still like murder, like it's still like bad. And yeah, we have to tell someone about it. And then she kind of leaves them knowing how it's going to end up, where, you know, they died together basically.
Right.
And she kind of like figures that when she leaves, because he's like, can I just have a moment alone with Penny? And then that's how that happens.
Right.
And throughout the story, we see Elizabeth continuously going back to Penny to like fill her in on what's going on, you know, even though she's like, you know, basically in like a coma at this point, and like a medically induced coma, I'm assuming. And she's like constantly filling her in on what's happening at the Thursday Murder Club. We're dealing with an actual case right now. And like her husband's sitting there like listening to it the whole time too. And we're constantly getting those updates throughout the story, and even bringing in Donna and be like, look, Donna, like this is Penny, meet Penny. Like we do get that in the movie for like a second, but just like not as much in the book.
Yeah. Well, that brings us to the very, very end. What are our final verdicts? Lindsay, let's start with you.
Book. I'm going book. 100%.
Keri?
Yeah, I'm gonna have to agree. Definitely book. The movie was just like, it was also a little slow too.
Yeah. No, I agree. I'm very much book. This was a 2-hour movie.
Yeah.
I feel like they could have done better by cutting out some of the weird stuff they added and adding back in some of the stuff they cut out.
Yeah.
So that's how I feel about that.
Agreed.
And that brings us to our question of the episode. Joyce is always baking up some goodies for her guests. What is your favorite treat to entice company to visit? Or if you're like me and don't necessarily want visitors, what is something someone could bake to entice you to come visit? Let's start with Keri.
I don't really know how to cook. I'm not a very good cook, okay? So, I have to keep it simple if I'm bringing something, and I always like to make these, like, pumpkin cookies. I think I've told you guys about these before. But they're super simple. They only take, like, a few ingredients, but my grandma makes them, and they're, like, not so terrible for you either. So I always like to bring those. That's like my favorite treat to bring. And then I always force my sister to make me pumpkin bread. It's a pumpkin theme, apparently.
There you go. It's good. It's a good flavor.
Yeah.
Lindsey, what about you?
I used to bake all the time, and I was always bringing cakes and cookies and things to work. Like, I always used to bake. But now that I'm more at home, I like to make cookies when people come to visit me. Cookies are my favorite. Chocolate chips, snickerdoodle, the pecan turtle delights. Like, I love cookies. That's my favorite.
There you go. I used to bake a ton. I don't think I have baked in years. I don't really like cooking. I realized that over the years I cooked mostly because it was expected of me rather than I enjoyed it. So now I just hardly do. Also, I don't necessarily like having company. I don't mind visiting though, and if I am going to visit and you want to convince me to come see you, cheesecake is the way to my heart. I don't even care if you made it yourself. Go get store-bought. I don't care.
Honestly, everything that Joyce was making in this movie, I was like, cake. I need it. I need that right now.
Yep. My stepmom makes an amazing homemade Danish. Her cream cheese Danish. I literally have driven 1,000 miles for that Danish. It is delicious.
I love that.
So that's, honestly, the way to a woman's heart is through her stomach too, fellas. You should know that by now. Well, this one wraps up our Anything Goes April. We sure do hope you've had as much fun as we have. Let us know what you think by joining the conversation on our socials. We seriously love the perspectives you all bring to our conversations and discussions. Also, tune in next month as we begin to revisit the series we've been covering. Keri is kicking it off with 50 Shades Freed. 50 Shades Freed. There we go. And I, for one, am seriously looking forward to seeing what the heck is about to happen, because we left on, I don't know what that was, and I need to know what happens next.
Yeah.
But until then, please remember, we all have a sob story, but we don't all go around killing people. Bye.
Bye.